Welcome into this week's edition of the Railsplitter Athletics Report. I'm your host, Adam Haley. Rusty Peace has taken the week off. Busy week inside of the Railsplitter Athletics community. Spring break here on campus. A lot of the spring athletic teams are trying to get a lot of games in while a lot of the students are not here. Hard to believe, though. We're finally in the month of April. Only really a couple weeks left to go inside of those regular seasons. The men's and women's tennis teams, men's and women's lacrosse, LMU baseball, softball, as well as track and field, and the golf teams all making their late push toward the South Atlantic Conference tournament and those South Atlantic Conference championships. Do want to make mention that the LMU tennis teams are on a little bit of a roll. Both the men's and women's teams have now won 3 consecutive over Anderson, Brevard, and Catawba. So congratulations to Benny Collins and his LMU tennis teams, as well as the LMU lacrosse team. The men's lacrosse team defeated North Greenville 13-8 on Wednesday afternoon to pick up their 3rd win of the season. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little baseball with head coach Jeff Sixai. That's when we return here on the Railsplitter.
We have a big problem, and we need your help.
It's happening on college campuses, at bars, at parties, even in high schools.
It's happening to our sisters and our daughters,
our wives and our friends.
It's called sexual assault, and it has to stop.
We have to stop it. So listen up.
If she doesn't consent, or if she can't consent, it's rape, it's assault.
It's a crime. It's wrong.
If I saw it happening, I was taught you have to do something about it.
If I saw it happening, I speak up.
If I saw it happening, I'd never blame her. I'd help her.
Because I don't want to be a part of the problem.
I want to be a part of the solution.
We need all of you to be part of the solution. This is about respect. It's about responsibility.
It's up to all of us to put an end to sexual assault. And that starts with you.
Because one is too many.
Hey everybody! Heart disease affects 1 in every 3 women in America, but you can fight back. There's no time to lose. Mothers, sisters, daughters, families, and friends, it's time to shout louder, stand stronger, and demand change. Let's go!
To the Batmobile. Dang it.
To the invisible jet! Dang it. Together, we can put an end to heart disease. It's time to go red for women. I could use your help. Yeah! Learn more from the American Heart Association at www.goredforwomen.org.
You love your car or truck? Let us help you keep it clean at Soapy J. Soapy J's has unlimited wash plans to fit every budget. Try our $5 express wash or one of our 3 monthly wash plans. The Wheel Deal, the Soapy J, or the new Blast Wax. With our monthly wash plans, if you pay with credit card, all you do is pay for the present month and your card will be billed on the 1st of each month. Don't forget, Soapy J's has free vacuums with any wash. Soapy J's Express Car Wash, open 7 days a week. Let us help keep your car or truck clean at Soapy J. Soapy J's on the Cumberland Gap Parkway, Middlesboro.
And welcome back into the Railsplitter Athletics Report. As we said, LMU baseball coach Jeff Sixai is with us. Coach, it's hard to believe here we are the first couple of days of April. Your season's about done.
Yeah, we got 3 weekends left and 12 games left. We've already played 35 games and only have 12 left, if you can believe that. But got 9 conference games and 3 non-conference games left. So looking to make a late season push and finish strong.
Now, I know earlier on, I think about it was around January, the NCAA made the new rule where you all could play, I think it was the last week of January. Has that helped you think with a little bit of the scheduling, knowing there's a couple more days to get a few games in, or is it just not as jumbled?
Yeah, well, it's definitely helped. Main reason is in the South Atlantic Conference, we have the earliest conference tournament in the country, Division II. So allowing us to play a little bit earlier in the year allows us to get a few more games in before we start conference play. Early conference tournament means playing conference games early in the year, too early, really, but pushing the start date back allows us to get a few more games in before we start conference play. So advantageous in that way, helping our prepare our team. And that's going to come into effect again next year, which will help us get a few more games in. So it's helped us play a few more, yeah, so I like that format.
Taking a look over your schedule, obviously you started off with USC-Aiken, which is essentially becoming tradition for the LMU team. Yep. You played Alabama-Huntsville, I think it was last week. Those are 2 very powerhouse teams, as well as a couple other teams on your schedule. Is that something you like to go out and do, is really schedule a lot of top 25 teams?
Yeah, well, you have to. I mean, if you want to, our number 1 goal is to win our conference and have a chance to go to a regional, and goal number 2 would be win a regional and go to a World Series. So you have to play teams on your schedule that are perennially there to measure your team up. So we didn't perform well in those games, but it gave us, it was positive in that it gave us a measuring stick, exposed some areas that we need to get better in, and kind of showed our players, hey, this is where we need to be a perennial regional team, which is a goal for our program, not just one every few years, but every year. So got some work to do, learning curve there with those teams. They're both very good teams. And so it's a positive in that way. It's better than playing, people who aren't as good. It gives you a true measure of yourself. So, a positive experience that way.
Something you got to do with Huntsville that you've not got to do much this season was play at home.
Yeah.
The weather has been just horrendous, it seems like. From February, we had all the snow, and now we're getting a lot of rain through March. Now we're in April, expecting more rain this weekend. Has it been a little difficult coaching your team up, knowing, hey, we got a home series coming up? I think you had 2 conference series. They were supposed to be here. Coach them up, we're going to play here. Nope, now we got to go on the road.
Yeah, no, it's been no question. It's been a challenge for all our athletics teams here at LMU this spring. I think of our 35 games, I think we've played 11 home games of 35, something like that. And so, it is what it is. You do what you got to do. No excuses. We've been on the road a lot, and we'll be on the road a lot down the stretch. We've only got this weekend and one other home game. So I think of our 47 games we'll end up playing, we'll only play maybe 15 of those at home. So disadvantage, but you deal with it and go on. There's really no choice in the matter. I think at one point we had our tarp on for nearly 1 month straight. It was 3.5 weeks. Didn't play or practice on our own field for that amount of time, which I don't. It's tough on any team, but you just got to find ways to get better inside and keep playing. So that's what we're doing, and got a lot of games left here that we need to play well, and getting some good weather now. I need to take advantage of it.
Now, something that baseball, and I imagine softball as well as other spring sports you have to deal with, when you lose a game or you lose a series, sometimes it doesn't get made up. I know last season you lost a couple of conference series, and it actually hurt you in the standings a little bit by percentage points. This season, with changing home in a way, it seems to have worked to your advantage to at least get those games in.
Yeah, well, the league rule is that if the team that's traveling doesn't incur a travel expense, if they don't get on the bus or spend any money, then you're allowed to make the games up at the next agreeable date. You can play 2 of the 3 games, 2 7-inning games, which is what we did with Tusculum this week. What happened to us last year is we went down to Mars Hill, so we incurred a travel expense. Weather caught us, I think caught them a little bit by surprise. The tarp didn't get on. It was a tough deal, and it ended up raining out for the whole weekend. So that's why we couldn't make those games up, because we had already gone down there. Had we stayed at home and not gone, we could have made them up. So that was the difference. Early in the year, the 2 series that we had to switch from home series to away series, we played well in both those series. So you can't really use that as an excuse. You wonder if at the end of the year, all that travel at the beginning begins to take its toll, and so we're trying to strike a balance between getting better at practice, but also keeping our guys fresh, and so it's important games coming up. So we're striking that balance.
Talked to some of your assistant coaches earlier on in the season. We had them on Monday Night Sports Talk on Monday nights, and they were talking that your team is so talented. At times, you didn't know if you had enough places on the field for your team. I looked over your stats. You have 7 players on the roster hitting over 300 this season.
Well, offensively, we knew going in would be a strong suit for us. That's kind of been something that's been a staple in our program over the years as we've been able to produce offensively, and it would be a matter of, what would we get from our pitching staff. And I think our 3 conference starters have kept us in games and given us a chance. But, yeah, certainly have a lot of offensive players that played well in spring and fall practice, and so and a lot have contributed. We've got a lot of guys that are contributing, and that's a nice thing to have. Is if somebody falls off, goes into a slump, which we've had a couple key guys kind of slump. Some injuries have really plagued us this year, but it's nice to have had guys on the bench that can come in where you don't fall off too much. So that's been a nice luxury to have some guys coming off the bench that can swing the bat.
You're at 18-17 overall, 10-10, right at the 500 mark in conference play. Looked at the conference standings. You're in 5th right now. Now, baseball, the tournament situation's a little different this year. If you would like to explain that.
Well, yeah, actually, if I can correct you, we're in a tie for 4th and have the tiebreaker over Wingate.
I see. Okay.
So Coaches are funny about that.
That's
stuff,
fun.
You know. But the way the tournament works is we've expanded to 8 teams this year. Has been just 6, but now it's 8 teams. But the format is the top 4 teams get a bye. The 5 through 8 teams play a 1-game play-in single elimination. So 5 plays 8, 6 plays 7, and then the winners of those games after day 1 of the tournament, you're down to 6 teams, and then from there, at that point, it's a double elimination format. So it really behooves you to be in that top 4, where you don't have to be in that play-in day. So that's what we're shooting for right now, is to make sure we get in that top 4. Again, we're tied for 4th right now. Would be the 4th seed if the season ended today, because we're tied with Wingate and we have the tie break. We beat them 2 out of 3. Shooting for higher than 4th, but really, the main goal is make sure we finish in that top 4 to get into the bye situation in the tournament.
Tied in the 4th spot, left on your schedule in conference play, you've got Mars Hill, Coker, and Anderson. You got Mars Hill coming up this weekend at home. I have to say this, weather permitting. What's the scouting look like for Mars Hill? What have you got to do to pull out that series win?
Well, they've been really playing well of late. Been swinging the bat well. Play Carson Newman, had them beat 3 times, and Carson Newman got 1 from them. Have beaten some good teams here lately, especially playing very well. And we're on a little bit of a downswell as well, so the combo, we really need to play well this weekend to beat them, and hopefully we'll get a game in tomorrow, and I think we'll get in 2 Saturday, but with Easter Sunday, we can't play on Easter Sunday, so if we want to get 3 in, we got to try to get a game in tomorrow night somehow, but we'll really need to play well. They're playing well, especially offensively right now, so we need to be locked in.
Does it aggravate you a little bit, knowing we've got days like we've had earlier in the week where it's very pretty, thinking, man, if this team could have just been here this day, we could have possibly gotten this game in?
Yeah, well, it's like that every year. It's dealing with an outdoor sport in our part of the country, starting in February. You never know what you're going to get in February, complete toss-up, and mostly March, too. You never know. It gets into April, then you start getting a little bit more consistent conditions, but you just deal with it. It's nothing new for me. This is year 12 with the baseball program here, and it's nothing new. You just deal with it and go on. And I know our players don't like dealing with the tarp and all that. That's the worst part, but you just deal with it, and what it is what it is. You can't control it, so you just adjust.
I've never had to pull a tarp or clean a tarp, but I imagine it's good fitness and conditioning for your team.
Yeah, that's no question. They hate it, but it's part of the job.
All right, Coach. Hey, Coach Jeff Sixside of the baseball program. They're at home this weekend at Lamar Hidden Field taking on Mars Hill. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll have LMU softball with head coach Natalie Layden right after this.
You make me wear my bike helmet. You taught me never to run with scissors.
You tell me to stay away from drugs.
To always buckle my seatbelt.
And to follow the swimming rules.
You're always looking out for me and trying to keep me safe.
So why do you keep a loaded gun in your drawer?
Here in the garage.
Closet? Shoebox under the bed. Where anyone can get to it. How safe is that?
How safe is that?
How safe is that?
You asked them to follow some safety rules. Now they're asking you. In fact, they're counting on you. Never let your gun get into the wrong hands. If you own a firearm and are not using it, please be responsible and be sure that it's stored in a safe place. Remember, always lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org.
You can be a hero by being prepared for an emergency. First, make a plan. Call a family meeting to plan for things like how to connect with loved ones after an emergency.
There.
Or your escape route.
I am not fast.
Build a kit. When disaster strikes, it's important to have enough supplies to last 3 days. And don't forget the batteries.
Low battery.
Number 3, know the facts. From blackouts to floods, no matter the emergency, the more you know about it, the better you can deal with it.
You're gonna need some upgrades.
Number 4, get involved. lend a hand in your community to help others know their role in an emergency.
You guys, do you feel this? We're gonna be heroes!
You can be a hero by being prepared.
Yes!
Visit ready.gov/kids for more preparedness tips.
Welcome back to the Railsplitter Athletics Report. Now sitting along with head coach Natalie Layden of the LMU softball team. Coach, welcome into the program. And again, just like we talked with the baseball coach, I imagine you're happy to see better weather, just wishing it wouldn't rain this weekend.
Oh yeah, you're always happy to see it. You know, it's been a tough winter, but it's been a tough winter on everyone, and it's one of those things where you deal with it and you move forward, and you hope that it doesn't affect you too much. If we played in the gym tomorrow, I'm sure we wouldn't lose. But you know, right now that's not the hand we're dealt, and we just got to deal with it, and that's what we're doing right now. But the weather has been awesome here lately. Something
that I saw on your schedule that Coach Sixside didn't get a chance to do. You spent most of February, probably most of March, not in Harrogate. You were in Dahlonega, Georgia. You were down in South Carolina and Florida. You purposely scheduled away from the snow.
Yeah, we stayed away in February. Last year we had a tough time getting games in. We had lost 11 games in the month of February last year. So this year we decided that, you know, the month of February, yes, we'll have a home game every now and then, which were canceled, besides the Trevecca opener. But other than that, we stayed away. The unfortunate thing about that, I think the schedule was pretty tough to not practice all week and then go play. You know, not practice all week, go play, and you get put on dirt, or, you know, we go to North Georgia that weekend, we're on turf all weekend, and, you know, those things are pretty tough. No excuse by any means in our play or energy or any of those things. But, yeah, it makes for a difficult time, and, you know, like he was saying earlier, the wear and tear of travel, you know, being a small roster like we are this year, you start to see that wear and tear on them.
Kind of like I was talking with him about Huntsville and USC Aiken. You have went out and you've not hid from the regional competition. You went right head on into them.
Right. Yeah, we play a really tough schedule, and that's one of the things that will prepare us. You know, record-wise, it's always tough because you look at somebody's record and you're like, oh, it's not great. But on the other side of it, if you look at their strength of schedule, you know, we're not playing teams that you can just walk in and play, you know, and beat by just being there. You know, so it's been a very tough schedule on our roster, and, you know, I feel that it's prepared them to where they've seen a higher level of softball, so hopefully, you know, that'll prepare us more into conference, as we're just getting going in conference a little bit for us. But, you know, we still have a lot of games left, 12 games left, and a lot of things can happen. You know, we have a great group that's resilient, and I have all the faith in the world in them that they're going to turn this around here soon.
What does the conference look like this season as a whole from top to bottom? I know I think the last home game you had in conference was against Anderson. Last year's tournament champions, you split with them.
Right.
What does the conference look like this season?
Yeah, the conference is really upside down, to be honest. You know, at the top this year, you have Anderson and Carson Newman, which Carson Newman hasn't been, you know, above the top 5, I don't think, in the last 3 or 4 years. And then you look on the other side of it, you know, those of us who have been towards the top are now struggling. You know, you've got LR, Wingate, ourselves, and, you know, those teams typically are at the top. So, but everybody is separated by a game or two. You know, it's not like there's a ton of separation between somebody and, you know, you have the dominant team in the conference. There's definitely a lot of parity within it. It's just one of those things. It's a battle every day, whether you're playing 12th or you're playing the number 1 seed. I don't think there's that much difference, which you can see as, you know, we split with Anderson. Those kinds of things, we play those teams well, that down the stretch it's going to matter.
Is it difficult? I know, like this weekend, it won't be as difficult, I don't think, for you all because you're actually at home. But you've got a Friday doubleheader that's scheduled, weather permitting, again, and Saturday doubleheader. You went on the road and I believe did a few of those. Is it difficult to hit the bus, go to a school on Friday, hit the bus again, hit it again on Saturday?
You know, it always is tough, but I think they're used to it. You know, they've done it their whole lives where, you know, now when you play travel ball, you pretty much get in a car with your parents, but you ride for days, or you get on a flight with your team and take off and you play for 5 days in a row. So I think they're conditioned to that. And, you know, hopefully our being away in February and that kind of stuff, that they're used to it. And, you know, you hope that you've battle tested them in the beginning to come through in the end.
Let's talk about some of your players right now. Let's take a look at your stats as well. You've got 2 players with 5 home runs each, that being Amanda Snow, Meredith Johnson. Snow also has 20 RBIs to go along with that. Talk about your team on the offensive side.
Yeah, you know, we've got a lot of different things going on in our offense. With Meredith and Snow, you're looking at power numbers, and those two have really done a nice job being steady in the middle of the lineup. And you also couldn't ask for 2 better people. And I think that's something, you know, that's been really important with our team, and kind of what we've pushed is be great athletes, but also be good people. And you know, offensively, we've done a lot of things. We've got a lot of speed in our lineup, and you know that's one thing I always tell our team: speed never slumps, and we need to use it more. And so that's something we're trying to get into the offense a little bit more right now. Has it been as consistent as we would like? No, you know, it hasn't, but we definitely have the talent there and the potential there to do some good things offensively.
We're seeing some footage from some of the, I believe this is the actual Anderson game from when you all played them. I think it was last week or so. I have to ask you while we're looking at this footage, new uniforms this season. What brought about the stripes?
You know, it's just something different. You know, I guess softball, a lot of times you're used to just, you know, the plain jersey kind of deal, and, you know, wanted to do something a little throwback, something a little different, and went with them, you know, and it was one of those, you take a gamble with it, you hope they like them, and the team seems to like them. We've gotten a ton of compliments on them, even yesterday, you know, on the road and stuff. Everybody's, you know, hey, we really like the uniforms, and I've actually had 2 coaches ask me for numbers to order them themselves for next year, so I guess it's all right. I guess they worked out.
Natalie Layden, trendsetter when it comes to the world of fashion.
Right.
Let's take a look at your pitching staff. You have Breonna Taylor, Samantha Smith, as well as Amanda Snow. The ERAs are not necessarily, I'd say, where you'd like them to be, but softball is a little bit different than baseball in a sense. And you take a look at the ERA, and you've got a 2 or 3. It's not necessarily that as bad as it is in the baseball world.
Yeah, because it's out of 7 innings. So statistically, it's a little bit different. You know, the 3 of those guys, they throw a lot of innings, and so you know, Sam Smith has pretty much been a staple in our program for 3 years, and you know, this year she's actually had a little help, which has been nice. You know, her and Bree and Snow have done a nice job stepping up as far as either game 2 starter or in between innings relief, and you know, I really think the 3 of them together, once they start gelling and understanding each other's role, I think they're going to come together here soon.
You mentioned you got 12 games left to go. You've got Lenore Ryan here, again, weather permitting, Friday afternoon for a 2 and 4. You've got Queens here for a doubleheader on Saturday, weather permitting, for a 1 and 3. I want to skip LR for a little bit, and I know as a coach it's hard to do. Let's go to the Queens game because it's Military Appreciation Day.
It is.
Kind of explain what's going on with that.
Yeah, you know, we have some parents who are also in the military, and it's one of those things that, you know, they give us so much. The least we can do is show our respects to them. And that's what we do 1 game a year is to give that and bring somebody in to throw out our first pitch who's a part of the military and, you know, has given us so much, and we try to at least recognize them for that day, and it's pretty much their game. You know, we play for them on that day, and it's something that's really important to the girls, and we have a bunch of shirts and things like that we'll sell, and all the money and proceeds will go to Wounded Warrior, but it's just something our team likes to do each year, and, you know, just to pay our respects back.
On the same flip side, April 7th, you're hosting Brevard for another doubleheader, and that's going to be Cancer Awareness Day. You're really doing a lot of fundraising with this team.
Yeah, we try to give back as much as we can, and I think that's, you know, a lot of athletics as well is, you know, not only what can you get sometimes, and it's more about teaching them what can you give and how do you use your resources, you know, to benefit other people as well. And, you know, our girls, they really do a great job, and they're dedicated to doing the best overall for our team and for others. And, you know, that's something that I had a former player who we're actually playing for this year who was diagnosed with lymphoma, and she's 25 years old, and she's been through the ringer. And so this year, our cancer game is actually dedicated to Brittany Loudermilk.
All right, we got a couple minutes left to go here in the segment. Again, you're 12 and 18 overall. You're 3 and 7 in the conference. Right now, sitting on the outside of the tournament. But you said there's 12 games left to go. Right. Starts this weekend with 4 big ones. I hate to keep saying this, but weather permitting.
Absolutely.
But you've got Lenore Ryan coming in here Friday afternoon. What have you seen from the Bears, and what has our team got to do?
Yeah, they're a good team. You know, I know their record right now is not looking so hot. But LR, you know, they're always going to be a battle, and I think that's with everybody in our conference. They pretty much return a majority of their team, but I will say their infield is new, and that's something that's different from them. Their pitching is returning, but you've got your third baseman and shortstop that are new, and, you know, they lost 2 very key players there, and I think that's, you know, hurt them a little bit, but, you know, Sheena always does a great job with that team, and, you know, they'll be ready to fight, you know, returning the catcher, Sarah Kinley, who has a very strong arm, good bat. You know, they're definitely not short of anything. We've got to come out and take care of LMU, and the scoreboard will take care of itself.
All right, very quickly, what about Queens on Saturday?
Yeah, Queens is going to be a battle. They're one of those teams, you know, that they scare you. They do. You know, they're going to fight hard. You know, you hope you have the last punch. You punch a little harder. But, you know, just a scrappy kind of program, and you just never know. I mean, with any team in our conference, 1 through 12, anybody can beat anybody on any given day. And, you know, Queens is one of those teams where if we don't play our game, they will play theirs.
All right, Coach, big weekend coming up for you. Wish you the best of luck, and hopefully we'll see you in the winner's circle coming up pretty soon.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Hey, Coach Natalie of the LMU softball team. We're going to take a break. We'll come back and tell you what's coming up this week in LMU athletics right after this.
At Citizens Bank, we're different from everyone else. We've proudly served business communities of Northeast Tennessee since 1912 and have security you can count on. We offer the convenience of internet banking, excellent loan services on various types of loans, cash management, and small business banking at all of our convenient locations in Harrogate, Tazewell, New Tazewell, Bean Station, and Morristown. Visit our website to find out more at citizensbanktn.com. Citizens Bank, no more banking as usual.
Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Maybe he's really focused.
Hey, Michael. Michael. Maybe he likes spinning the wheels.
Maybe he just loves trucks.
Maybe he's just being a boy.
Preoccupation with objects is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today. The sooner it's diagnosed, the better.
Commercial to residential, from the basement to the attic, Knoxville Drywall can deliver full-service drywall, insulation, and paint contracting. Knoxville Drywall specializes in new and tenant build-outs, drywall repair, drywall grids, metal stud framing, acoustical ceilings, suspended drywall ceilings, and ceiling and wall texturing and painting. Knoxville Drywall also provides wall-blown insulation for existing walls, attic-blown insulation, wall and ceiling batts insulation, and crawlspace insulation. Knoxville Drywall Incorporated, serving Knoxville and the surrounding area for more than 56 years with outstanding quality and competitive pricing.
Whether institutional case good or architectural woodwork, Nolan Products Incorporated of Knoxville has been serving East Tennessee, Southwest Virginia, and Southeast Kentucky since 1958. From concept to finish, Nolan Products custom builds to the highest quality standards to meet your facility specifications while using only the finest materials available. Nolan Products has been serving and meeting the needs and requirements of general contractors and architects in East Tennessee and surrounding area for more than 55 years. Nolan Products Incorporated, 912 Forsyth Street Northeast, Knoxville.
Welcome back into the Railsplitter Athletics Report. I want to thanks to our coaches, Jeff Sixeye and Natalie Layden, for showing up today. Again, don't forget, both of those are at home this weekend. Let's take a look at what's going on this week in LMU athletics. On Friday, the LMU baseball team, as we said, they're taking on Mars Hill. That's a 4 p.m. First pitch. The LMU softball teams will be taking on Lenore Ryan. They'll be taking on the Bears. That's a doubleheader. Started the slate at 2 p.m. and also at 4 p.m. Again, those are all weather permitting. On Saturday, the LMU baseball team will have their doubleheader against Mars Hill, whereas the softball team will be taking on Queens. It's a 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. start, and again, it's Military Appreciation Day at the Dorothy Neely Field. Also want to mention LMU men's and women's tennis will be at home against Newberry. That's a 1 p.m. start on Saturday. And men's lacrosse will be at Brevard for a 1 p.m. start. Women's lacrosse will start at 4 p.m. You can follow the live stats online at LMURailsplitters.com. Later on in the week, on April the 7th, the LMU tennis teams will also be at home. They'll be taking on Queens University. That's a 1:30 start. And as we said, LMU softball will be taking on Brevard that same day. That's April the 7th for a 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. And again, that's Cancer Awareness Day at the Dorothy Neely Field. Hard to believe here we are the first week of April. The sports season is quickly coming to a close. April 17th is the last day for LMU athletics. Speaking of ending, that's the end of our show. Thanks for watching the Railsplitter Athletics Report.